to the Ungoverned, the Captain's Crew, the LFA family, McGroin Nation, coming to you live from the deep red state of Tennessee. On rumble.com/LFA TV. Welcome to Ungoverned on this Tuesday, December 30th, 2025. How about it? How about that? We are one day away from the final day of 2025. That is crazy.
How you like them apples?
How you like them apples? I like them a lot. I love them apple. There you go. Pete Santilli is now Pete McGroin. Okay. Very nice.
Should be Peter.
Peta. There you go. I am right now bringing in one more video that I need to. It's an audible that I had to grab. After 4 hours, let's not oversell it now. After 4 hours of Talk Radio 1210 WPHT this morning, which, by the way, as I always do, I had a blast. But we had 11 callers, I think, calling this morning throughout the course of the show, and one of them was a liberal, and we had a long conversation. He was respectful, which I love, because we were able to have that conversation, and that generated so much buzz, and it got so many people calling in and talking, and it was great. So
I missed that one. I came in right after.
You came in right after it,
yeah.
But it was a good time, and I love it. Back on tomorrow with Matt Rooney. It's one of the most fun things to do is to take the calls, and you never know what they're going to say. It's like when we do our calls here, right? You never know what everybody's going to call with. Sometimes we ask
You're good at calls.
Sometimes we ask. So I grew up listening to that.
I'm not quick enough on my feet.
I grew up listening to that on sports radio, and so that's why I love it. It's one of my favorite things. Whenever I thought of like, hey, I'm going to do radio for a living one day, the most exciting thing I had was callers, people calling in and us talking. So it was, and I was with sports radio, and then now we're doing politics and political content. So, very, very happy to be here with you here on this Tuesday, and we're closing in on the end of the year, as we know, and the Somali Daycare Fraud, scandal has exploded, absolutely exploded, and it has been roaring and rearing its ugly head since, I would say, we have an article, we have a clip and a video since 2015. 2015. Think about that for a second. That's how long that this fraud has been going on unchecked, essentially. Oh, Tim Walz says he's been working on it. Yeah, Tim Walz, I'm a knucklehead. Tim Walz says he's been working on it, but I mean, how have you been working on it and no meaningful work been done on it, right? That's typical Democrat behavior. Typical Democrat incompetence. We got that. We got Mara Gay. We're going to play some Mara Gay. We just played it over on 1210 WPHT. So, look, I'm going to say this. Yeah. If you followed all 4 hours of Talk Radio 1210 WPHT, now you're here for this, it's going to be almost very, very similar, right? There's only so much news to go around, but we're going to cram that into an hour here on LFA TV. Hey, if you're watching right now over on rumble.com/LFA TV, here's what you must do. Here's what you must do, okay? You must hit the follow button right now. You must hit the follow button, okay? You must hit the thumbs up button because right now we are sitting at 720, okay? We're 80 away from Mo already. We are 180 away from Agamo. We are 280 away from Clover.
We're overdue for Clover. I'm so sorry. She didn't want to.
She didn't want to come in yesterday.
She was sleeping.
You
don't wake a sleeping cat.
And by the way, if you did wake her up, she would have been mad at everybody the rest of the day, and we all would have been bit and all that. Okay. So we have all of this. It's gonna be a good show this morning. So stick around. Hang out and hit that thumbs up button for us right now here on Talk Radio 12. Wow, we're not on Talk Radio 1210. I'm stuck in that mode. Right here on LFA TV, rumble.com/LFA TV. Hit that thumbs up button. We greatly appreciate your support. And hey, also we've seen a huge uptick in audio downloads. I mean, like a massive. It's been like 100% uptick. Boom. So go to any of your podcasting apps, search for Ungoverned, and hit the subscribe button. It's totally free. Appreciate you guys for doing that, and for those who have done that already. We're going to get to all this fraud stuff. We're going to get to a lot. There's just so much to get to. Before we do that, I've got an exciting update.
What?
I've got an exciting update from OFP Farms. It's clearance time. It is New Year's time. Oh. New Year's clearance up to 50%
I love a sale
of some of the items there at ofpfarms.com, ofpfarms.com, ofpfarms.com. Folks, holiday clearance at the farm. OFP Farms is making room for new seasonal products by clearing out their shelves. With many items already discounted, you can enjoy savings of up to 50, not 5, not 15, not 25, 50. This is 50% off by using the code Sean, Sierra Hotel Alpha Whiskey November at checkout. Visit ofpfarms.com to take advantage of that 50% discount. That is ofpfarms.com, up to 50% off of everything on the website, up to 50% off of everything on the website at ofpfarms.com. Season's greetings, clearance time. Here we go. It is the New Year clearance time, OFP Farms. So check it out. ofpfarms.com, ofpfarms.com. Promo code SHAWN for that potential 50% discount off of some of the items on the website.
How pretty is that banner, too?
I love that banner. They make the greatest banners.
They really do.
They make the greatest banners and the greatest boxes, right? They do a tremendous job. Spoiled Brett Lee says, what talk radio is Sean on in the mornings? Occasionally, Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. For the previous week, the last week, the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then this week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Tomorrow I'll be on. I fill in for their morning show. Kale and Company is the morning show, and I'm on with them every Friday from 7:45 to 9:45. Then we come on here. But the last couple days now, we've been doing double duty. So it's been 4 hours of radio plus an hour of streaming. It's a lot of fun. I come out of there like a zombie, but it's okay. It's all worth it.
I've been
it's great.
helping. I've been helping.
Brennan's been helping.
I'm on the radio now.
She's on the radio now.
Do you guys believe that?
Dan Nunn is in the chat. I'm jumping on his show today. Dan Nunn.
Are you?
Yes, going on his show today. So it's always a fun time when we get to jump on the Nunn Report. So that's going to be a good time as well. All right, here we go. Matthew JT says only boomers listen to talk radio anymore. Okay, well, we had a lot of boomers this morning. Great ratings.
I don't know
great
who
time.
that is, but he's already been pleasant in the chat.
Has he been pleasant?
Yeah.
Has he been pleasant?
On for only a few minutes, and he's already.
Is he mad?
Making his mark. You know, I wouldn't say mad. He's just trying to
instigate.
Trying to.
He's an instigator.
No one's taking it.
All right, we're not going to take the bait.
He's losing.
We're not going to take the bait. All right, let's roll. Let's get into Somali fraud, right? Let's get into Somali fraud. And right off the bat, this has been something that has been going on since 2015. Are we at Mo already? Bad Moon's having a conniption.
Wow.
Holy cow. All right, here we go. There it is. Woo, we got it.
Nice, guys. Look at that.
Right, we're at Mo at 9:11 in the morning. Goodness gracious. Tremendous job. You've done a tremendous job. Okay. Somali Daycare Fraud. This has been raging since 2015. Okay, I'm going to read to you a little bit from this this piece detailing the length of time that this Somali fraud has been going on. All right? Since 2015, I'm going to play this video for you as well from 2015. This was a video taken in 2015 used in prosecutions from 2018. A video from 2015 reportedly used in a 2018 fraud prosecution shows parents dropping off kids at one of the daycare centers and then leaving with them moments later. Interesting, isn't it? It very well is very interesting. So let me play this video for you and show you kind of what's being outlined here, and then we will talk about it and see how familiar this sounds with what's been uncovered by Nick Shirley and many others out there in Minnesota. Take a look.
In order for the scheme to work, the daycare centers need to sign up low-income families that qualify for child care assistance funding. These surveillance videos are from a case prosecuted by Hennepin County. They show parents checking their kids into a center only to leave with them a few minutes later. Sometimes no children would show up. But either way, the center would bill the state for a full day of child care. This video from that same case shows a man handing out envelopes of what are believed to be kickback payments to parents who are in on the fraud.
Where was the money going?
I don't know exactly where it went.
Ah, that's good. Where's the money going? No idea. Okay. You know, I said this on the radio this morning. We work too damn hard. By we, I don't mean me and Brennan and, you know, the hosts over at LFA TV. I mean everybody. We work too damn hard for this to be happening. Mm-hmm. We do. You work too hard. We all work too hard for our money to be siphoned out of our pockets, siphoned out of our paychecks, and distributed recklessly, carelessly to these foundations, organizations, and whatnot that are committing fraud to steal our money. We work too hard for that. Now, is there ever going to be a situation where there is zero fraud, where it is perfect? No. No, it's never. We're never going to reach perfection. So to set that as the goal is unrealistic, and you're setting yourself up for failure. But can we get as close to perfection as possible? Yeah. Yeah, we can. Yeah, we can. Let's give you a little bit more context about what was going on here. The owners of the daycare, as the video mentioned, would bill the state for a full day of childcare and give parents kickback payments for being in on the fraud. So in other words, if you came and you brought your child into one of these daycares that was fraudulently billing the state, that wasn't actually looking after kids, they have, you know, rosters and they're keeping a paper trail. Look, this family dropped off Jimmy and Joey. This family dropped off Jenny and Jess. This family dropped off Matt and Mike, all right? But they pull them right away. No one's actually watching the children. But they're going in there, they're putting their kids' names on paper saying he checked in, he checked out. The daycare center bills the state for a full day of childcare that they didn't actually provide. The parents, because they're the ones giving, you know, putting their child's name on the paper, giving the daycare the quote-unquote proof that they were in operation that day, even though it was all a lie, they're getting kickbacks too. They're all in on the fraud. They're all in on the fraud. Here's a local Minneapolis news story from 2018. Minnesota lawmakers are scheduling a hearing for Tuesday after the Fox 9 investigators exposed daycare fraud. This 2018. This sounds like the Nick Shirley story. This is from 2018. 7 years ago. Minnesota lawmakers are scheduling a hearing for Tuesday after the Fox 9 investigators exposed daycare fraud that could be costing taxpayers millions of dollars, and some of that money could be making its way over to terrorists overseas. Wow. Haven't we heard that before? Haven't we heard that before? Making its way to terrorists overseas. Interesting. That's kind of like what we heard last week, right? With the autism research and the feeding our future, all that money that was being stolen, it's sent to Somali terror groups like Al-Shabaab. Carry-on suitcases filled with, this is back from this piece, carry-on suitcases, and this is again from 2018. This is a 2025 article on Red State quoting and citing reporting done from Minneapolis by Fox 9 in 2018. Carry-on suitcases filled with as much as $1 million in cash are regularly leaving on flights from Minneapolis-St. Paul International Airport to the Middle East. All right, this is being reported on in 2018. Last year alone, government agents determined the money transfers amounted to over $100 million. They believe a sizable amount is coming from fraud in the state's child care assistance program, which offers government subsidies to low-income families. At least 10 daycare centers are currently under active investigation for overbilling the state. Most of those centers are owned by Somali immigrants. Oh, interesting. Again, this is reporting that was done back in 2018. This is not new. What I'm reading right now is not new reporting. The reason why I'm saying that is I'm trying to show you that this has been going on without any adequate oversight or deterrent for years. Not to take anything away from Nick Shirley, because it put it on the map big time. But what Nick Shirley uncovered wasn't new. But he brought a lot more attention to it, and now we're seeing that this has been going on for a while. So very valuable work done there. Members of the community told Fox 9 that the fraud is widespread. It is believed that some of the funds are being sent in the form of remittance payments to relatives in their homeland. Investigators also believe terrorist groups are demanding a cut of the money when it arrives overseas. Part of the problem lies in the relocation of Somali refugees to, of all places, Minnesota. Minnesota has been for years a state that has boasted of its generous social welfare benefits. The state seems to have also operated on a high trust basis when administering these programs, but then it took in a huge influx of people from low trust society. In 2018, a City Journal article again made this point. The case of Fozia Ali, recently sworn in as a member of the park board of an upscale Twin Cities suburb, is illustrative. Ali's daycare center in South Minneapolis was suspected of billing the government for more than $1 billion of bogus child care services. According to Special Agent Craig Leisher, the FBI found records that she was collecting a significant amount of money for a much larger number of children than were actually attending the center. Ali's case also had an international component. Quote, "We are aware that some of the funds went overseas, what she was cashing out, money from the business," Leisher noted. He declined to specify the purpose to which the funds were put. Ali used a phone app to register charges to the Minnesota state government while she stayed in an $800 per night hotel in Nairobi. She pled guilty in March to charges of wire fraud and is serving time in federal prison. But the scam goes well beyond Ali. Though the total loss to the state's $248 million daycare program remains to be determined, we have a serious case of deceit, obviously, but the real damage, harder to measure, is likely to be the high trust values of Minnesota, where newcomers can dupe the natives so easily. So this has been going on for a very long time. And Tim Walz wants you to believe and wants you to know, well, I'm a knucklehead. I've been working on it. I've been working on it. I've been trying to fight it. Here's Tim Walz. He knew about it. He knew about the whole thing. He did nothing. Let's
I think
watch
what
and
the
listen.
president did was elevate it. I do believe, and I will fully own this, we should have been keeping Minnesotans more up to speed on what was happening. We should have been, I think, on a better cadence as you see things that were happening in 2022, as the tools that were given to the administration would get there. So again, after the fact, there was a lot of folks talk about this. I have 7 years of proving this. I just fixed these things. And should we have fixed MNLARS before it got there? Certainly. Certainly we shouldn't have gone through 10 years of trying to get a licensing system. But once we got there, once we figured it out, we fixed it. And I think
we fixed it, huh? You fixed it? Fixed it? Doesn't look like you fixed it. You got the Leering Center in Minnesota that's stealing a bunch of money. You got the Feeding the Future. You ever see the meme?
No.
McDonald's meme?
Oh.
10 billion meals served. Okay? Feeding the Future. 0 meals served. You've got all sorts of other daycare fraud going on in Minnesota. Tim Walz wants you to believe it's been fixed. Tim Walz wants you to believe it's been fixed. Let me ask a question. I think this goes one of two ways. And just hear me out on this, right? And I know everyone wants to point to, he must be getting something from it. And he might be. He might be. Okay? But to me, it breaks down to one of two things. I don't think this is incompetence. I don't think this is Tim Walz, just being dumb and bad at his job. I think there is a level of intent here as to why he did not put an end to this obvious, rampant, known fraud since at least 2015. Okay, that first video of the drop-offs, that was from 2015. Okay? I think there's a reason why, and it comes down to two explanations for me. I think that the reason for that is either A, he's receiving the kickbacks, which he may be. He may be. I don't know. Maybe it can be proven soon. Maybe it can't be. He might be getting kickbacks. B, I think it's also possible that he is afraid. afraid to shine a spotlight on the Somali community, afraid that they won't support him, afraid that they may react violently, and most importantly, afraid, especially when you think back to 2015, of being called a racist. 10 years ago, accusing a politician of being a racist was one of the most serious accusations that could be made against a public figure. Nobody wanted to be accused of being a racist back in 2015. These were claims that were very hard to overcome, claims that were very hard to put behind you. If you were a public figure, these were claims that you did not want levied against you. You did not want to give anybody any ammunition to call you a racist at all. I think Tim Walz was essentially fearful that if he took a proactive and adequate, not even aggressive, adequate approach to stop and to mitigate the fraud that was taking place in Minnesota, he would have been called a racist. They would have said to him, oh, he's targeting brown people. He's just another white guy from Minnesota targeting brown communities. So either he was getting kickbacks, and he very well, it may be both. It may be both. I think there was reporting, I don't know if it's true or not, but there were reports circulating that some of the fraud that was uncovered and engaged in, some of the fraud that was perpetrated in Minnesota, some of those funds wound up going to a Democrat running for office in Washington State. So there's a little bit of, the kickbacks happening over there. That the stolen money, stolen taxpayer money that we work way too damn hard to have stolen from us is going to help Democrats running for office across the country. That ain't cool. But I feel like there's a part of Tim Walz, and it's not just Tim Walz. It's if it's happening in Maine, if it's happening in Ohio, if it's happening in these other states, and you're seeing primarily minority dominant communities engaging in this type of fraud, I think people are afraid to point it out because they don't want to be called a racist. Now, 10 years later, it's a little different. The term racist has been watered down. The meaning has been, significantly diminished. Nobody knows who's telling the truth anymore when they make claims of racism, thanks to people like Jussie Smollett, thanks to people like Bubba Wallace, thanks to people in the mainstream media who, they have to find ways, Joy Reid, right, has to find ways to make it about race no matter what they do all the time.
The whole Black Lives Matter movement.
The Black Lives Matter movement is a tremendous example. They made everything about race when they were, where it wasn't involved. They made it about race where it wasn't about race. It didn't need to be made about race. The caller that I had on 1210 this morning was like, well, you just keep throwing red meat to your audience and pointing out how these Somalis are causing problems in Minneapolis. It's not my fault that Somalis are engaging in fraud. I'm not making them engage in fraud. And I can speak definitively because we have 80 plus cases brought up to this point, 60 plus convictions, and like the overwhelming majority, like high 80s, low 90s, possibly even high 90% of these convictions are of Somalis. None of that's my fault. I didn't tell the Somalis to come into the country and commit fraud so that I can later point at them and scapegoat them and say Somalis are bad and brown people are bad and they're not to be trusted. I didn't do that. I'm just pointing out what's happening. That's just the news. It's like pointing out that it's raining outside and someone getting mad at you that it's raining. So, well, it's raining. Yeah. Well, way to point that out. Well, it's not my fault that it's raining. I'm just saying it's raining. I didn't make it rain. So this has been going on for 10 years, probably longer than that. And there has not been an adequate response. There has not been an adequate response. Tim Walz accused Nick Shirley, or implied that Nick Shirley, we talked about this yesterday, Pete Santilli brought this to my attention yesterday, that Tim Walz implied that Nick Shirley was a white supremacist for exposing and just for reporting, for doing the job that most reporters should be doing. It's not white supremacy to point out that there's massive fraud going on in your state. Tim Walz is doing to Nick Shirley what I believe he was afraid would be done to himself had he pointed out what was going on. And that's where we are now. Where if a member of a minority community or multiple members of a minority community or a scheme is out there amongst the minority community, if you point out that there is illegal behavior, illicit behavior, fraudulent financial behavior in a minority community, the only reason you're pointing that out is because the community is a minority community. No. We're pointing it out because it's illegal. We're pointing it out because we work too damn hard to have our money just stolen from us. And we work way too damn hard to look the other way on it because we're afraid of being called a racist. We work too hard. You work too hard. And that's what gets me really upset. We don't have a choice. We have to pay our taxes. We don't have a choice. That money comes out of your paycheck every single week. And if you're self-employed, whatever, you file your taxes quarterly, whatever you do, however you do it, you pay your taxes. It comes out one way or the other. They get their cut one way or the other. We work way too damn hard to have to surrender that money to the federal government so that it can be distributed and doled out to fraudulent businesses not providing the services that they claim to be providing, taking advantage of our generosity. We work way too damn hard. And if I'm telling you, Kathy Barnett said it right when we were handing it off. If there is not adequate, sufficient, major action taken, I don't want to see finger wagging from Ted Cruz and all these people. Nothing against him, but he does this a lot. He gets to be theatrical. I don't want to hear about subpoenas and hearings and all this from James Comer and House Judiciary. I don't want to hear about how this is unacceptable from the Speaker of the House. I want to see action. If you're going to investigate, if you're going to spend time on this, these people are nailed to the wall. If there are no consequences, and there have been 50, 60 convictions thus far, there needs to be more, because clearly it's not fixed. We need action. We need action. We need consequences for these people. And we need all of that. We need the fullest extent of the law to be applied to those who are stealing our money. We work too damn hard to have our money stolen like this. I don't do this every day. I don't do 5 hours of content. I'm not complaining about the difficulty of my job. It's a lot of fun. But I don't work 4 hours on the radio, an hour on LFA TV, doing work on social media, creatively creating all sorts of content, recording ads for people, and everything else that we do along the way. Brendan's seen his nights in here. I'm in here till 1 a.m. getting things ready to go. Around the clock, it just never stops.
When his eyes close at night, he's still thinking about work. As soon as they wake up in the morning, as soon as he opens them, he's working.
And I don't even have that physically of a demanding job. I'm talking about, guys, we work too freaking hard for this to be accepted. When I sign up to pay my taxes, and we expect our money to be spent responsibly. I said this on the radio this morning too. If you have a friend who you're helping out, say you're giving him $100 a week, $400 a month, get him on his feet, help him out. And then you find out that your friend is buying booze and drugs with it. I'm not going to continue paying them. You're either going to spend my money that I give you responsibly, or you're not getting my money. Unfortunately, with the government, we can't just make the decision that they're not getting our money. Much as I'd like to. We work too freaking hard to have our money stolen like this. All right. Are we in Magamo territory?
We are.
All right.
We're almost to Clover territory.
All right. Let me honk this, and we'll get to a word from our friends over at goldencrestmetals.com/LFA. Here you go.
Oh.
goldencrestmetals.com/LFA, but Magamo first. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that.
Look at that.
900 this early in the morning.
What other podcast honks their hedgehog
There's no
live
other
on
podcast.
camera?
There's no other podcast to honk their hedgehogs. None. There's none. All right. Let's get to word from our friends over at goldencrestmetals.com/LFA. It's goldencrestmetals.com/LFA.
Hey everybody, Jeremy Harrell here. Look, I want to talk to you a little bit about gold and silver. When I was a kid, I always wondered what Fort Knox must look like. And when I was a kid, I always envisioned that when you would walk into Fort Knox, you would see just gold everywhere, literally raining gold, kind of like what you see behind me right now. Unfortunately, as a grown-up, I don't have that kind of imagination anymore, and I don't even have that much trust that Fort Knox has the 5,000 tons of gold that we're supposed to have there. Meaning that decades ago, we went off the gold standard in this country, which took the value of our dollar down to just mere pennies. And since our federal government doesn't want to go back to a gold standard currency, then it's time to us to take matters into our own hands. Have you ever thought about buying gold and silver? Have you ever thought about taking portions of your IRA or your 401k or your nest egg or your savings and putting it into gold and silver, either all or a portion of it? Have you ever wanted to purchase silver like this in bullion or premium? I know I do. And I know I wanted to take matters back into my own hands, which is why I have worked with Golden Crest Metals to do that. GoldenCrestMetals.com/LFA is going to be your go-to, absolutely transparent and trusted partner. Now, you can go to that website, or you can call 888-308-4202. And what the good thing about this is they're going to guide you. They're going to talk to you. They're going to guide you. They're going to give you all the answers to your questions. And there's going to be no hidden fees. It's completely transparent. No hidden fees. No pressure, no surprise markups whatsoever. Clients get to see everything before they purchase. They've even agreed to lower the minimum investment to the LFA audience in order to make sure that everybody has access to this. Free IRA storage, free insured shipping, and a full range of precious metals from gold, silver, palladium, and platinum. And if it's easier for you to just maybe click a QR code, well, guess what? We've got that available for you too. Right here, ladies and gentlemen. Click this QR code on your screen and it'll take you right there. GoldenCrestMetals.com/LFA. Again, GoldenCrestMetals.com/LFA, or call 888-308-4202 today to reach these guys. They're going to be a great partner for you, just as they have been for me, and we absolutely recommend here at LFA TV, GoldenCrestMetals.com/LFA.
That's goldencrestmetals.com/LFA, goldencrestmetals.com/LFA. Thank you, Jeremy, being a part of the show. Thank you, Golden Crest Metals, for being a part of the show. All right. Let us get to, I'm going to get to this. Here's Tim Walz, knucklehead. Knucklehead. Here's Tim Walz essentially admitting, right? Our state has one of the best child care systems. We have so much funding. It's great. It's wonderful, even though he knew on the debate stage with J.D. Vance last year. And how great was that vice presidential debate last year? The amount of content that it got us, the Vance glance.
Vance was like, you guys hearing what I'm hearing?
Vance was like, nah.
No.
It would have been funny if Vance was like, I don't think knucklehead's the word you're looking for. I think it's a word that begins with R. All right. Here's Tim Walz essentially boasting about, bragging about the amount of money that goes into Minnesota's child care system, even though he knew of the rampant fraud that was going on just about a year and a half or a year and 3 months ago in October of 2024 in this vice presidential debate.
We in Minnesota passed a paid family and medical leave. You have a child, and I had to go back to work 5 days after my kids were born. This allows you to stay home a certain amount of time. What we know is that gets the child off to a better start. The family works better. We stay in their employers. We get more consistency in that. So Kamala Harris has made it a priority. We implemented it in Minnesota, and we see growth. That's how you become a pro-business state. And so a paid family medical leave program, and I will tell you, go to the families or go to the businesses and ask them. As far as childcare on this, you have to take it at both the supply and the demand side. You can't expect the most important people in our lives to take either our children or our parents to get paid the least amount of money. And we have to make it easier for folks to be able to get into that business and then to make sure that folks are able to pay for that. We were able to do it in Minnesota, and I'm still telling you this. We were listed as the best state. We're still in crisis on this. A federal program of paid family medical leave and help with this will enhance our workforce, enhance our families, and make it easier to have the children that you want.
I'm a knucklehead. Tim Walz. He's a knucklehead. Never, for those of you who don't realize, this is the clip.
I tried to do the best I can, but I've not been perfect, and I'm a knucklehead at times.
You know, those of you who just heard that are lucky, because on my end I didn't hear it yet, so now I have to play it again. Wait, here it comes. I didn't hear it. You guys heard it. I didn't hear it.
I tried to do the best I can, but I've not been perfect, and I'm a knucklehead at times.
I'm a knucklehead. I'm a knucklehead at times.
You guys have no idea how many times I've heard Sean say that today.
Yeah. It's stuck in my head now. I'm a knucklehead.
There's gonna be an insurrection.
There's gonna be an insurrection. Her knuckles are gonna be in my head.
Yes.
Soon. I'm a knucklehead. What can I say?
Swinging arms.
I'm a knucklehead. All right. There's Tim Walz. And that really, to me, I look at this and I go, you knew there was fraud going on. It was reported in 2018. There have been countless amount of people pointing it out. You're on the vice presidential debate stage, and you're just saying you're a knucklehead, and that was about the Tiananmen Square Chinese stuff or whatever, or the weapons of war, or whatever that was that he was walking back on that debate stage. But the fact of the matter here is, Walz knew about it. Walz did nothing, and I think it was out of fear. And possibly he was getting kickbacks. I'm not ruling that out. It's just that is extraordinary claim, right? It's not outrageous or outlandish or hard to believe. It's just, I'd like little more proof than I could see it happening. But I would imagine that he probably got kickbacks in some way. Maybe not directly, like, hey, Tim Walz, here's an envelope under the table, but campaign donations, voting support, things like that. All right, let's move on. Let's move on to another story. Here's a Minnesota state senator. This is great. Minnesota state senator says that not only is this fraud case, well, she doesn't say that it's racially motivated, but did you know that the state of Minnesota can't survive without the Somali community? Despite the fact that the Somali community has been implicated as a major driver, not a passenger, but a major driver in the massive $1 million to $1 billion fraud scandal that has erupted out of Minnesota, that's been raging since 2015. Despite the fact that the Somali community, they've not been passengers, they've been drivers of this fraud, the state of Minnesota would not survive without the Somali community. That's like me saying I would not survive without intestinal parasites. I would not survive without having head lice. I need these things feasting off of my scalp. Right? This is unbelievable. But yet, that's what she wants you to believe. Watch this.
State Senator Zaida Mohammed says these attacks won't stop with Somalis, and their contributions can't easily be erased.
We are in every industry, and Minnesota would not be able to survive nor thrive without the Somali community here.
Minnesota would not be able to survive or thrive without the Somali community. Oh, really? Interesting. I did a little homework live on the radio this morning. Minnesota began receiving Somali refugees in the early 1990s after the collapse of Somalia's central government and the outbreak of civil war in Somalia. The United States began issuing visas to Somali refugees around 1992. And soon after, Somalis started arriving in Minnesota in significant numbers in 92 and 93. So 1992, 1993 is when Minnesota started accepting Somali refugees. Okay? The state senator just told you that Minnesota would not be able to survive without Somali refugees. So does that mean the state of Minnesota was established in 1990? Because if it wasn't and it thrived up until the 1990s, then she lied. Does anybody know? There it is. There it is. Did just fine without you asses here. There you go in the chat. Anybody know what year Minnesota was founded as a state? What year Minnesota was established as a state? Anybody know?
It was 1883. Is that what it was?
No, further back.
1876.
Keep going.
1890. Oh, wait, that was
That's the other one.
1843.
1840. They're a little higher now, Bob.
1848.
10
I don't remember.
years.
We saw it earlier.
1858.
58.
Minnesota became a state
Sheesh.
in 1858. There it is. Dunlap and McGroin, 1858. Minnesota has been a state since 1858. So Minnesota survived and thrived for 133 years before Somalis arrived and did just fine. Now you have Somalis in Minnesota. 80% of every Somali household, sorry, that's wrong. 80% of Somali households in Minnesota with children are on one or more forms of welfare. So you have the state of Minnesota, established in 1858, a state senator saying without Somali refugees in the state right now, the state would not survive, okay? The state would not survive.
State Senator Zaida Mohammed says these attacks won't stop with Somalis, and their contributions can't easily be erased.
We are in every industry, and Minnesota would not be able to survive nor thrive without the Somali community here.
How is that possible if the state did survive and did thrive before the arrival of Somali refugees, and now after the arrival of these Somali refugees, we're seeing billions of dollars of fraud being uncovered. We're seeing 80% of Somali households with children on one or more forms of welfare. This is what I would call a net negative. That if you remove the net negative, you'd be better off. Okay, the reason why I use the term parasite is not to dehumanize them, it's to accurately describe the relationship. Because that is the relationship. 80% of Somali households in the state of Minnesota with children are on one or more forms of welfare. What are they contributing?
Nothing.
What value are they bringing?
None.
What are they adding?
0. Stress.
Stress on the system. Anger for the taxpayer. But she wants to tell you, Minnesota wouldn't exist without Somali refugees. Oh, okay. Yeah, sure. Sure, Jan. Sure. All right, let's pivot. Move on. Mara Gay. This is good stuff. Gay. Mara Gay says that this is, of course, racist to pivot to target the Somali communities, and that they're just being used here as scapegoats, despite the fact that the stats don't lie, the numbers don't lie. They make up a majority of those convicted of fraud in this entire scheme that's been raging in Minnesota for the last decade. But take a listen to Mara Gay trying to tell you that they're just being used as scapegoats because it's some sort of racism, white supremacy thing here.
So absolutely, it should be investigated. The question is, why is this a priority in a different kind of way? The politicization of the DOJ and the FBI is undeniable. So whether they are reliable narrators is the big question. And this is what happens when you weaponize and politicize federal agencies that are not meant to be, politicized. And I think the American people are right to ask the question, well, can we trust you? And that's a sad thing to say as an American. Let's recall, too, that there's also other scandals in other states. For example, the Mississippi welfare scandal. And this is not unique to politics. Americans know that. But, of course, the other factor here is that because it looks like the Somali population in Minnesota, the Somali immigrant population may have been involved in some way, those people are being scapegoated, and that community is being scapegoated in a way that certainly serves the far right. And so that's also something to keep an eye on, and that's inappropriate. Absolutely.
They've only been involved in some way. Did you hear the way she characterized that? They've only been involved in some way. Like 90% plus of the convictions in the fraud scandal in Minnesota have been Somalis, but they've only been involved in some way. It's like they're just along for the ride. Don't blame them. What? Well, this woman, pardon my French, is an asshole, okay? I don't like her. I can't stand her. And not only is she an asshole, but she is also incredibly bad at math.
And she's ugly.
And she's also ugly. She is. She kind of looks like a fish. Look
Yeah,
at her.
so absolutely it should be investigated.
Yeah, I don't like her. Anyway, here is
Yeah, that's what I was trying to do. I just made fart sounds instead.
Mara Gay. What is it with the liberals recently looking like fish? Karen Bass.
Yeah,
looks
she
like
does
the
look like Bass.
Put me in the water, put me in the river. The big mouth Billy Bass you hang on the wall that sings the song to you.
And it doesn't fail me that the term goat keeps coming up. Scapegoat.
And
we know
Somalis.
They love their goats.
They love themselves a good goat.
I think it's
the greatest of all time. All right. Mara Gay, very bad at math. This is one of my favorite. This is a throwback for you guys, Bongino Army. Dan had a great time with this clip.
What?
This is the one where she can't do the math properly. And they put the tweet on the screen. Here, you know what we're going to do, actually? Let me do something real fast. We're going to put this
But
up.
you see it as a possibility if he wants to spend $1 billion beating this guy, he could do it.
Absolutely. Somebody tweeted recently that
All right, here. I wanted to put that over there so I can react live to this because this is just too good. Here's Mara Gay showing you that she learned how to do math at the Quality Learning Center in Minnesota. I guarantee that's where she got her degree. Check this. This is an all-time classic from Mara Gay.
But you see it as a possibility if he wants to spend $1 billion beating this guy, he could do it.
Absolutely.
Bloomberg.
Somebody tweeted
Mike
recently
Bloomberg.
that actually with the money he spent, he could have given every American $1 million.
I've got it. Let's put it up on the screen. When I read it,
here we go
tonight on social media, it kind of all became clear. Bloomberg spent $500 million on ads. U.S. population 327 million. Don't tell us if you're ahead of us on the math. He could have given each American $1 million and have had lunch money left over. It's an incredible way of putting it.
It's an incredible way of putting it. It's true. It's disturbing. It does suggest, what we're talking about here, which is there's too much money in politics. And it makes it difficult because what we want in
Okay. $500 million, 330 million people. Well, that just means that Bloomberg can give everybody $1 million. No. If you divide 500 million by 330 million, each of us gets $1.52.
$1.52.
$1.50.
That can't even buy you a soda.
Can't even give it to the Loch Ness Monster. He needs $3.50.
He needs $3.50. And that was a long time ago.
Are you freaking kidding me? Hi, my name is Mara Gay, and I got my degree at the Quality Learning Center in Minnesota.
We can tell.
We can tell. Finally, this is also an all-time great. An all-time great. Anybody from Long Island in the chat?
I lived there for 6 months.
Yeah. Anybody from Long Island in the chat? You guys, this might sound familiar. What Mara Gay experienced on Long Island.
I think this is another area where Democrats really need to get serious about talking about the table in this democracy, but how to separate America from whiteness. Until we can confront that and talk about that, this is really going to continue. I was on Long Island this weekend visiting a really dear friend, and I was really disturbed. I saw, dozens and dozens of pickup trucks with explicatives against Joe Biden on the back of them, Trump flags, and some cases just dozens of American flags, which, is also just disturbing because essentially the message was clear. It was, this is my country. This is not your country. I own this. And so until we're ready to have that conversation, this is going to continue. What really...
Pickup trucks with American flags and Trump flags. I wonder who that could have been on Long Island in 2021. I wonder,
a little chin scratcher.
I wonder if that was a wonderful group known as the Loud Majority on Long Island that used to do all that stuff.
I think I know them.
I think I know them. Oh, yeah, it makes me feel good knowing that.
Isn't that funny?
She was on Long Island and was so mad about it that she had to cry about it on mainstream media. That's nice.
Yeah.
That's
what
right.
She sounded like.
Yeah, that's right. Stay loud, Mara. Stay loud, my friend. And I say friend in jest. All right. Let's take a quick break and get to a word from our friends over at SilentSLNT.com, SLNT.com, SLNT.com/SHAWN, Silent.com/Sean. Ladies and gentlemen, you know it. Your phone, it's a tracking device. It's tracking everything. You know, I talk about colostrum so much. All I get is Armor colostrum ads now because my phone is a tracking device. I got to stick my phone in a silent Faraday sleeve all the time now to make sure that I don't get these ridiculous ads anymore. All right, your phone is a tracking device. We all know about that. Between government agencies, big tech, corporate data brokers, even those pesky cyber criminals, they're all fighting for a piece of your digital footprint. And they're not asking. They just go on and they just take it, right? That's why Silent exists. Silent makes Faraday gear that blocks all wireless signals, including cellular, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, GPS, RFID, and near-field communications. You know what no signal means? It means no tracking. It means no remote access. It means no breadcrumbs. It's the same technology trusted by special operations teams around the world, used to block signals, avoid surveillance, and secure communications wherever the mission leads. And right now, that technology is available to you to protect your family, protect your freedom, and secure your digital footprint. Just drop your phone in a silent Faraday sleeve, and it is off the grid, completely silent, and invisible to the outside world. Listen, from their backpacks to their phone sleeves to their crossbodies, Silent's patented technology gives you complete control of your privacy. Visit SLNT.com/Sean, SHAWN, to save 15%, up to 40% here for the year-end sale, and get free shipping on qualifying orders. That is Silent, SLNT.com/Sean. Protect your rights, secure your data, and stay one step ahead. Silent.com, SLNT.com. Silence the chaos and go silent today. It's SLNT.com/Sean, SLNT.com/Sierra Hotel Alpha Whiskey November. All right. Yesterday, the United States took out its 30th Venezuelan drug boat in the Eastern Pacific. Days after what was a land strike in Venezuela, they took out like a drug factory.
Wow.
Boom. And all those drugs went up in smoke. Goodbye. I love the fact that we took out another drug boat, and that's 25,000 lives saved. 25,000 lives saved because we took out one of these boats that are bringing drugs. 76,500 Americans died of drug overdoses, not including alcohol, in between April of 24 and April of 25. 76,000. That's a football stadium worth of people.
Wow.
Gone. 210 a day. You can tell me to read To Kill a Mockingbird all you want, Rand Paul. I'm never going to stop supporting striking the boats the way we're striking them. Do I want a full-scale ground invasion of Venezuela? I do not. But 76,500 Americans died of drug overdoses. And pardon me if I'm a little joyful and gleeful over the fact that these boats carrying the drugs that are going to kill more Americans if they're blown to smithereens. Amanda Collins. They died like a dog.
Yes, she
they
knows.
Died like a dog. Complete and total. Dead. You know, that's what Donald Trump said that one time, remember? They're going to be like dead.
They're going to be like
dead.
She's so sassy.
I love it. All right.
Shall I go?
Yes, go fetch a cat. You can go fetch a cat.
Just get whichever one
is close and is ready to go.
Yeah.
Speak says, come on, Sean, it was just bricks of cream cheese harvested from the jungle there. Of course, yes. Of course it was. They're just fishermen, right? They're just fishermen. They're just fishermen. Here we go. Clover has made it into...
Betty, too.
Clover and Betty have made it in because we'll have 2 cats today. Here comes the first one. There she is. Look at this botchy girl. She's so botchy. Oh, she's mad. All right, get the other one. Here comes...
I'm going to take down the whole team.
Here comes Clover. Here comes Clover. So now you guys get 2 cats because you had 1,000 yesterday and 1,000 today. Look at this girl. There she is. She's a good girl. All right, ladies and gentlemen, before we go and turn it over to Jeremy Harrell, by the way, the pipe bomber, the J6 pipe bomb case has confessed. So that's a step in the right direction there. They got a confession from him. But before we give this over to Jeremy Harrell, who's coming up live here on rumble.com/LFA TV. Of course, hit that thumbs up button. Make sure you subscribe to the audio podcast as well, Ungoverned, on any podcasting platform. Also, head over to LFATV.us, click on the Visit the Store tab, and check out everything that there is to offer over at the LFA TV store. You know, it's the end of the year. Summer is closer than you think. Spring is closer than you think. We're getting there. You know, it's getting dark later than 4:40 now, and little by little, we're going to get even closer. Here comes Tucker Boy. So that is rumble.com/LFA TV for this channel, LFATV.us and there's Tucker. Is he on the camera? There he is. There's Tucker on the camera. There he is. He was our little illegal immigrant that we had. He wasn't supposed to be. He wasn't supposed to be with us. He hates being held, so he just jumped down. LFATV.us or JeremyHarrell.com/store for some of the coolest LFA TV merch in the game. It's all good stuff. And the Ark, I Don't Really Care Margaret shirt from JD Vance, that was a big hit there at the Ark. Okay, we got Betty underneath. She is right now stepping on me. Jeremy Harrell is coming up next right here on rumble.com/LFA TV. One more day left of 2025. We'll be back here tomorrow, same time, same place, rumble.com/LFA TV, 10 a.m. Eastern Time. I'll also be on 1210 WPHT for 4 hours with the great Matt Rooney tomorrow before coming on here. We will do calls tomorrow, and we will be streaming Friday. We'll do calls on Friday as well. I'll do calls for the last live show of the year tomorrow, and of course, last live show of the week on Friday, and first live show of the year as well. So we'll be back here tomorrow. Don't miss a thing. Make sure that you stick around for Jeremy, who's coming up next. As President Trump says, we will never give up, we will never give in, and we will never ever surrender. And if all else fails, we'll just become ungovernable. Thank you. God bless you. God bless this one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Have a great rest of your Tuesday. See you tomorrow morning. In the words of John Fetterman, bang gavel. Good night, everybody. And thank you for your attention to this matter.